I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. I sound like your dad. Jesus. Right, for those that don't know, and I'm going to do this as nice as possible, just because to me this is kind of silly. It's being painted into something it isn't, and it's now kind of just pathetic. I was watching a video that people asked me to watch, and I thought I'd just give it a go. And in this video, within 26 seconds, I was told...
Yeah, I said it. More DPS than any all-red striker build, and I want you to prove me wrong.
So I did. And then immediately, I'm toxic, I'm this, I'm that. Oh, it's just his opinion.
Now, let me explain to you why I feel like, and it's not necessarily that I feel like this is actually factual, that this hits harder than a DPS build.
Factual. Now, let me actually break this down into really, really silly, stupid terms so that we can understand how ridiculous this is. The highest number that any one person is able to clap is 5 times in a row. I challenge you to prove me wrong. If any of you clapped 6 times, 7 times, 8, you're all toxic. That's how stupid this is. That is literally it. I wish it wasn't this, but that is literally it. Then, the community that I am a sponsor of is also toxic because they told him that he is wrong. Nothing happens when you're wrong. I've actually got a really good example of this, okay? I was live streaming yesterday, of the day before this video goes out, and during that live stream, Admiral Orange came into my stream and explained to me in great detail of how I've done math on my Iron Lung video wrong. There's more to it, but in short, Admiral Orange said I was wrong and then proved it. I thanked him. Thank you, Admiral Orange. Now, where I've actually gone wrong in this, I'll just give a quick demonstration because I need to do a video about this a bit later. But in short, when you do critical hit chance as a roll on an LMG, it's 9.5. A lot of the builds I was testing were at 50%. This is 0.5 as a critical chance multiplier. Where I was utilizing a critical hit chance roll on an LMG, which is 9.5, the multiplier that I put in for this is now 5.9 or 0.595. I stupidly went on autopilot and started adding in that 5 on a lot of things, like a fucking idiot. So rather than calculate 50% critical hit chance, I was calculating 55% critical hit chance, which gave the wrong results. Now, what I have just explained is actually immaterial. It doesn't matter how I got it wrong. It doesn't matter my own personal feelings in this regard. I am out here trying to provide information. That information that I provided is now potentially wrong and can or could mislead players. Anyone watching that video can be misled because the information that I gave is inaccurate by like 1.8%. But that's still 1.8%. This is the standard I hold myself to. I got wrong, and I'm going to do a video apologizing and explaining this and going back over it with the correct results. In the same vein, identity here was wrong by 129.6%. And I'm toxic. Then there's the doubling down in this situation, which to me is strange, and I don't want to throw insults out here, but the reaction to this is just outright childish.
I felt compelled to make this video because when creating builds in general, I like to leave zero room for doubt.
Zero room for doubt. When analysing your video, I was specifically just looking at the build. I didn't care for your opinion or other people's opinion on it. That wasn't the challenge set forward. The challenge was do more DPS. Easy. But in order to do this, I need to make sure that I have your build as accurate as I could get it. I maxed out some of the stats, but that was to show the full potential of that build. It's easier to compare builds at their full potential than it is adding in their little 0.1s and 0.2s here, there, everywhere. So in analysing your build, I found that during your testing and your statements that you would magically go from 37.8, memory serves, critical hit chance to 60 magically with only 2 coyote buffs. I'm not sure how that works, but yeah. And that you would magically also go from like 107% critical hit damage to 200 with your magical 2 coyote buffs. Now, I'm not using the word magical here to be like insensitive or cruel or mean. My point is that cannot happen. Then in your testing on the range, you had FI active. You also had overcharge active. This can and will mislead players. And if you again want an example of this, again going back to my Iron Lung video, during the spreadsheet phase of that video, I actually shared this information with Rousey, where Rousey originally thought that critical hit chance would outperform rate of fire. I showed him my spreadsheets. Rousey is a very, very knowledgeable person, by the way. He is not a new player. He is an accomplished speedrunner, world record holder. He taught me a lot of the math. We worked together to break down Headhunter and how Headhunter actually works. He is a very accomplished and knowledgeable player. But when I showed him my spreadsheets of rate of fire outperforming crit chance, when I had them mistaken, he believed it. I directly misled and have possibly misinfluenced one of the most knowledgeable players in the game because I got something wrong. What do you think you misrepresenting your crit stats, misrepresenting your test that had FI in, that had overcharge in? Oh, and I went back over the numbers as well as the numbers you were getting in the video and actually brought the spreadsheet down to the exact values that you had. You also had someone running Demolitionist to give you 5% detox, which is affecting your weapon damage. So these are multiple areas that you have misrepresented that build. Whether you did it intentionally or not is immaterial. It doesn't matter whether you meant to do it or not. What matters is you have. So the correct response to this isn't you going, it's a controversy, because there's no controversy involved. You put out a challenge, you were beaten. That is not a controversy. This is a pretty linear chain of events. It's not controversial at all. You were wrong. The correct response to this is, I'm sorry guys, I was wrong. Quite simply because your community deserves better. They deserve a better you. Learn from this, accept it, and move on. That is it. This, at least where I live in the UK, this is called being an adult. You were wrong. Sorry, I was wrong. You learn from it, and you better yourself because of it. That's it. I don't understand where all this is coming from. It's very silly, it's very stupid, and it makes no sense. You put out a challenge, I beat you at the challenge. Whether you meant that challenge seriously or not, doesn't matter. You put the challenge out there, I won. That should be the end of it. Well, theoretically the end of it. Ideally, what you should do is make a video saying, I still really like this build. It's perhaps not as strong as a full red strikers build, but I still really like it. I still recommend it. I'm sorry guys, I didn't mean these things. I'll test my numbers a bit better next time. Maybe probably do them solo so that I can give you an exact example of what is happening, etc, etc. That, I would subscribe. If you did that, I would subscribe. I'd even make a video of me subscribing, because that is a genuine response. That is how it should be. Not this. This is silly. This shouldn't be a thing. Now, my final point on this is, for me, this is probably the most stupid thing of all, ironically. apparently I brought toxicity to your community or something. Welcome to the internet. That's basically all I really have to say on this. However, just in case you need some clarity, I'll break it down a bit more. People are people. They're going to do people things. I'm not some puppet master that sits here with my fingers in like strings and cackling away on a friggin' broom or something strange. I'm not a monster that you or some people in your community actually paint me to be. I look at numbers, I utilize those numbers, and I spread, as to the best of my ability, I spread correct information on individual pieces. I don't really do builds because builds are a dime a dozen. I view build videos as mostly pointless, which is one of the main reasons I didn't want to get into this in the first place. However, you set out a challenge. In that challenge, you did not cover all of your bases. Whether you meant it or not, immaterial, you set out a challenge, I answered that challenge. People potentially then watched my video of where I discussed these areas of doubt, because that is what they are. FI, overcharge, the detox from demolitionist, etc, etc. And they've gone to your video and they have also told you that you are wrong. Again, people telling you that you are wrong is not toxic. This is how you adapt. This is how you learn. This is called life experience. Being told that you are wrong and then being shown how you are wrong improves you as a person. This is nothing to be ashamed of at all. Right, this is going to be the last I do on this, just simply because this is just purely silly. It really is. That the challenge was made, I met the challenge, I won. I found a few things. I don't know identity. I've watched a grand total of like 1.5 videos of his. I don't know him. I'm not going to delve down that rabbit hole because 1, I can't be bothered. 2, it's not right. That would be toxic. So, I'm going to leave this here. I'm hoping both Identity and his community can make the correct adult choice because, like I said in the previous video, so far it's not been a good first impression. But I'm hoping we can let bygones be bygones and just move on with our lives. It's the internet. Have fun. Good luck. Don't die. It's bad for the health.